Would it take a Christmas miracle to see some sort of change for the Liberals right now?
Yeah, maybe to build on that metaphor, looks like a lump of political coal, the GST holiday and the $250 check. The thing is that the Liberals have almost tried everything to try to dislodge the trend line. The Conservatives have been in the driver's seat since like more than a year, right? In double-digit advantage, and they're at about a 19-point advantage now. And it looks like this GST holiday and also the $250 check are just not too popular, with no bump for the Liberals as a result of these announcements, which I'm sure they were hoping for might create a new trend line. Not so much.
Not so much. And so the Conservatives, as you point out, and according to your poll, continue to be in majority territory. What are the Conservatives doing right?
Well, one of the things they're doing right is keeping the focus on the Liberals. My experience is that whoever the election is about and whoever the focus is on loses. And, for Pierre Poilievre, he's been hammering Justin Trudeau on a consistent basis, especially related to the rising cost of living and spending and stuff like that. And he's been riding a blue wave of change. And, the thing is love him or hate him, Pierre Poilievre hasn't really made a mistake. He's been consistent since he was elected leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, and there hasn't been anything really to shake the numbers. Maybe the one piece of good news for the Liberals is that the election is not today, because perhaps people would look at all the choices a little differently if the election was imminent. So
there's also indications that Canadians aren't really excited about the GST break. Some think it's a bad idea. Your thoughts on that? Were you surprised?
Yeah, my rule of thumb is that if Canadians are offered a tax break or if they're offered a check, they take it. It doesn't mean that it's going to convert into voting for whoever the government happens to be of the day. When we test on this GST holiday, about half of Canadians, 32% think it's a very poor idea, another 19% a poor idea, and about 1/3 think that it's a good idea to one extent or another. So basically, by a margin of 2-1, people give that a thumbs down as an initiative. And on the check, that's even less popular than the GST HST holiday. You can see that about 66% of Canadians give a thumbs down to that, and only 17% think that it's a good idea to one extent or another. So, the $250 check for working individuals who earn up to $150,000, not popular. I think for the Liberals, maybe they should have done nothing, because more people are against this than they are for either one of these initiatives.
Well, I'd like to dig a little deeper on that last point. 43% not in favor of the $250 check. Why? If it's money back in their pocket, is it because of the people that are excluded? Is it because of the $150,000 limit on income? I mean, why wouldn't people be more welcoming to having a couple hundred extra dollars?
Well, the same survey that we did for the Globe and Mail suggests that if the government was going to spend money on something, that it should be on something else other than sending $250 checks. And only about 13% of Canadians think that the check is actually would like to see that in terms of choices, whether they'd like to see it not being sent at all, whether they'd like to see it spent on other priorities that the government might have. So I think for a lot of Canadians, they see, $150,000. Does someone who's making $100,000 need a $250 check from the government to help them pay? Will it make any difference realistically when they're worried about paying for the groceries and paying for the rent? So I think for a lot of Canadians, what they're just thinking is why is this needed? And if we were to spend that kind of money, perhaps it should be spent on something else other than just sending checks out to working Canadians who are making up to $150,000.
Nik Nanos is the founder and chief data scientist at Nanos Research. Nik, thanks so much. Good to see you today.
Bye-bye.